سلام كبرات تخاتتلتي إخوات كلهم سلام ديو حوهم داويت Captain. Today special guest he's a مسألة first and foremost we have our brother Ahmed Yusuf Mohammed. He's from the Afar National Congress. Welcome, brother. And then we have Jonas Woldu. So let's get to it. We're going to ask some real hard questions. You know us, the show. برضو حطوتات كن حتتينا there's no slack. Okay, anyways, welcome, brother Ahmed. Say hello to everyone. Let me make you large.
Thanks, brother Captain. Thanks, brother Jonas. It's a pleasure once again to reconnect and be invited to your show.
Boom. Thank you, brother Ahmed. Brother Jonas, unmute your mic. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Captain, for making this happen. Ahmed, it's good to reconnect with you. It's been a minute, but we've always stayed in touch and everything. But we want to, talk about everything that we've done and we're doing and the direction everything's going. And thank you, Captain.
Thank you. So today we're going to do it a little different. And the way we're going to do it, Lomi Khamein and Govro, Jonas, حطوتات كحتتيو أنا خاني بتقرب تيجرينا زخولو translate قبره. But there has to be a pause when Jonas asks the question and Yusuf responds. Give me a little quick second to jump in and do the Tigrina version for our Tigrina viewers. Fair enough?
All good.
Okay. نتيوم تخاطة تخاني copy link share قبرو كله حطوتات زنوركم أبتي إثيوبيا خميو انتاي نوسرا خونا قالت زنوركم كلها هنا قال سي حطوا لنا حجي خاناتكم جيزيق تحطوا أبتي comments حطوا نحلوكم brother أحمد or يوناس or حتى حطوا سخونك تحطوا تدليو حطوا تصحفوا نحنا خاني كان حطوينا تسأجميلن copy link share قبرو نا تيك توك زلو ونسلولهم أبزوجنا لنا. Okay, we're going to start. Jonas Mejamerta, let me ask brother Ahmed, who is he? Menicha, what is your role with the Afar people, and what is your role with Brigade Nahamuru? Intai Gudaikam is Afar, Intai Gudaikam is Brigade Nahamuru Blue Revolution of Ethiopia. Go ahead, brother Ahmed. Who are you?
Well, am I muted? Okay. Thanks so much once again, brother Captain David and Jonas, for inviting us again. In short, I am a far Canadian. I live in Canada for the past 30 some odd years, and currently I'm the president of Eritrean Afar National Congress. The Eritrean Afar National Congress has been operating as a indigenous political organization for about 10 years. It's a senior Afar political organization leading the cause of self-determination, internal self-determination within the Eritrean context, Eritrean framework. When we say self-determination, we mean it's Afar autonomy in Dankalia and self-governance, as well as protection of Afar ethnic identity, and as well as natural resources. So in a nutshell, we are about Afar struggle in Eritrea.
Excellent. Eloquently stated. Jonas Waldu, who are you? What is your stake in this with Afar? I know أربعة عمد جلزة حلفة زي Miss Brother Ahmed. We worked for a very long time بحان سابنا سرحنا, and we had some goals to achieve. And now what's Itunir. So now we're starting to see where it took us, right? So now they have an office in Ethiopia, Galamele. There's a lot of changes. What about you, Jonas? What do you remember from 4 years ago with the Afar National Congress, and now what is your role in this? What do you tell you?
Yeah, so with advocacy, and Hijana in English, and then Captain, you can translate into Green if you want, if you're able to. But the main thing is, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the main thing is when we were, when we got heavily involved with advocacy, especially for me, starting in November 2020, I started realizing the solution for Eritrea is going to be a component of inclusivity, justice, and democracy. And then when I met Ahmed Mohammed, he was explaining to me about the Afar mistreatment, Afar marginalization, as well as all the other minority ethnicities in Eritrea. And then it reminded me that inclusivity is a huge component. And so in order for Eritrea to be united, it must recognize everybody's grievances, everybody's diversity, everybody's self-determination. And then the word self-determination does not mean separating or anything like that. It just means self-governance, nothing more, nothing less. And so the reality is, I figure we can work together because it helps with the inclusivity component, and as well as the justice component, and as well as the democracy component. So with that, we create an allyship right away, and that's where we are right now. Thank you, brother.
Okay, so Jonas Taiulalo Tinai Afar ኣብ ኤርትራ ዘሎ ትኩሉ ዝሕልፎ ዝነበረ ናይቲ መንግስቲ እውን ካብ 700,000 ፍርቁ ናብ ስደት ዝኸደ ስጋብ ሕጂ 500,000 400,000 እንዳወረደ ኩሉ እቲ ስትራግልስ ናይቲ ኣፋር ብዙሕ ድምፂ ስለ ዘይነበሮም ሕጂ ብዚ መፂና ካብ 4 ዓመት ምስ ሓወና ኣሕመድ ንራኸብ ድምፂ ኮይናሎም ነርና ወላ ኣብቲ ፋንሬይዚንግ ኣለመለ ብዙሕ ነጥፍ ነርና ሕጂ እቲ ነገራት ቁርብቲ ኣብቲ ፖለቲኮ ኣሪና ስለ ዝተቀያይሩ ዘሎ ንሕና ብሓንሳብ ኣብዚ መፂና ነቲ ህዝቢ ክነስምዖ ክነረድኦ ከመይ ዝኸይ ዘሎ እቲ ጉዳያት Go ahead, Jonas.
One thing to add too, just to give a shout out to Baito Yaakov USA, and then Ahmed can share the information. But in terms of donations and so forth to the Eritrean Afars in the refugee camps in Afar of Ethiopia, I want to give a shout out to that, and also the continued support for the Eritrean Afar community.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. No, perfectly stated. Okay, anything you want to add to that, Ahmed?
No, I just want to say, it's a commendable work what Jonas has been doing in terms of bridging the gaps and having us to work closely with the Yaakov. I know most of the Yaakov brothers. They have, like Jonas said, they've about 3 years ago or so, they have donated like $50,000 to our refugees in Ethiopia. That was greatly appreciated and saved many lives in the refugee camps, as you know. So thanks once again, brother Jonas, for reminding me that.
Oh yeah, and also shout out to Team Freedom for pushing the cause. Captain, you remember pushing the cause in about the potash and raising awareness about the disease that was going on in the water. So give a shout out to Team Freedom as well.
Thank you. Well, if we're going to do shout outs, let's give a shout out to Blue Revolution Brigade Nahamuru as well, since they went around كلها تحت Blue Revolution. So I know والدابة قالت اسبوع لهم, and that's cool, that's okay. نناتكم whatever. Again, كله تحت Blue Revolution umbrella سلازغانة. Blue Revolution Brigade نحمرو خاني. Shout outs. وريدهم. أبتي قربا إريترا. أبتي تشاف قمقم إريترا كراعي خلو قروبتي نتسرعات جسكوفو نغري. So I'm sure the regime is probably wondering, like, wait a minute, these guys are getting brave. He just the hero, how do you say? The film. Attach of Eritrea. ترخيهم malo. زغابت عمي زخور نجاري. سخولهم نتيم justice seekers. أنا هاني مسكناكم فتو. So Jonas, go ahead and start off with the questions, and I was actually looking for that poster Ahmed has sent me, but I can't find it in the WhatsApp. The chart. If you could resend that to me in the WhatsApp, and Jonas can start off with the questioning. And
the political program or the poster, you mean?
I think there was a poster I wanted to share that, or like a program.
Oh yeah,
discuss.
Absolutely.
I've got like 190 rooms in WhatsApp.
Absolutely. I'll find that for you. Jonas, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll ask the question off the top of my head from what I remember. But if you can, Captain, just on your phone, just download that question. It'll be a lot easier But the first question, Ahmed, is explain Eritrean Afar National Congress, who they are and what they're trying to achieve, as clearly as you can.
Absolutely. Like I was saying, Eritrean Afar National Congress, it's called EANC in short. It's about the Afar. It's a senior political organization. Like I said, it's about our organization dedicated to securing like internal self-determination. When I say internal self-determination, I want to specifically address the elephant in the room. When people say self-determination, they automatically think, oh, this is a group of secessionist group, to try to break up Eritrea or so. I want to reassure everybody that's not what we are all about. What we dedicated for is, first of all, the removal of this PFDJ system, and secondly, we are want a state for the Afar people where they can freely elect themselves to be self-governant and autonomous region within the traditional Afar territory of Dankalia, as you know it. So to just give a brief background to what is happening to the Afar in terms of the current regime. So since the inception, the Eritrean government, which is ruled by PFDJ, as you all know it, has subjugated our people into wide range of human rights violation, including ethnic cleansing, systemic marginalization, forced displacement, like I said, economic and ethnic persecutions. So this is just to recap of what the system, including war crimes, by the way. When there was conflict between Ethiopia and Eritrea in year 98 to 2000. So the Afar community, as you know, it's a border community, and the Afar leadership were taken as prisoners, as enemy sympathizers. They were mass murders of the Afar, innocent indigenous Afar people, just so in suspecting that they are with the enemy, just because they happen to be in the border community. So a wide range of war crimes were committed by this Eritrean regime. So our organization's vision, Jonas, in short, is to have a decentralized democratic governance system, a power sharing constitution, a federal democratic decentralized constitutional governance for Eritrea, where everyone, including the Afar, every region, every nationalities have their own rights to self-govern and have a way of creating economy and education, and for all of it's a multinational, multicultural, multi-ethnic, diverse Eritrea, as it is, need to have a constitution that reflects the will and the aspirations of Eritrean people. So that's what the EANC in a nutshell is fighting for.
Okay, perfect. So some of the things that people argue.
Let me translate real quick. Jonas, please, just have shawi in the Tigrina Tazaraba Hurdo. Ntaiz Wuzalo Naziom Ahmed Yusuf, Eritrean Afariu. Abti elephant in the room kolo mabzahatu gize sab yigageyu ntayulu ezi Afar stefenchilas mis Djibouti mis Ethiopia snivena دو كتب تدلي أقلهم مبزحاتي جزين السمع زبزلو نحنا جن autonomy freedom decentralizing ندلهم كل حزب إريترا ناتسنتنا ندلي كل سجودات نايت حزبي مريتش أخبر كلها أنا حزب إريترا يمبر نحنا تفنش إلنا أجندة ولا حنت قال ملا يبلنا نزل سرعات كنا وردوجي نقدن نك على سالنا نحنا خاني كم indigenous tribe تي كنفلت كنسمع freedom دمسي كوهابنا خاني نقال سالنا كم كالوت تقالستي جنتي كالوت منالبات Afar triangle galamela za hasbu abu yelana ni zbuzallo ዝኾነ መንገዲ ግን ከም ተቃምቲ ነቲ ስርዓት regime change ስለንደሊ ክንቃለስ ኣለና. Go ahead, Jonas. Thank you.
Okay, so Ahmed, I recognize that even though you're pushing for Eritrean sovereignty, indigenous rights, Afar rights, all the Kunama rights, so all the rights in the Eritrea, and you're pushing for self-determination for all nationalities and so forth. I get that, but there are some people in the Afar community who will claim otherwise. And I recognize that you guys have a similar challenge with any other Eritrean justice-seeking camp where you have infighting. How do you address those type of things?
So, as you know, as a political organization or a leading the cause of your nation or your people, you've always going to have people who have different ideas and things like this. But with the with EANC, what's unique about EANC is like we are our source of empowerment or our mandate comes from the indigenous population, traditional Afar leaders, including sultans, the Afar refugees. So in consultation with the Afar nation, Afar people, whether they are in the country or in as a refugees or in exiles. So we have put forward what we believe the best model for governance of Eritrea. And so the way, whether this applies to the Afar people or non-Afar people, is at the end of the day, what we want is to live in peace and have a democratic principles and rule of law based governance. So with consultation with our leadership, so what we think Eritrea is the best diverse nation with, like I said, is multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multi-regional society with 9 or plus ethnicities. So our vision, our model was put into what we call as the Afar constitutional model, which I will be sharing. If you have it in your phone, you can share it with Captain so that people can understand. So what we call for and what we advocate for speaks for itself. It resembles what Eritrea really is. So the number one, to put aside, to put people at ease of what you just said about people having external powers or anyone is harming the Eritrean sovereignty. So we are 100% pro-Eritrean sovereignty and territorial integrity and traditional borders. So we in the Afar model, we call for this sovereignty to be protected by all means. And the Afar also dedicated ourselves to establishing, like I said, decentralized federal democratic government in Eritrea to maintain our national unity, as well as promoting democratic governance for everyone. So, and as well as having the Afar people and Dankale determine and create power-sharing constitution that shares power with Eritrea's federal government and the 8 or so provinces, Akale, Guzai, Barka, Dankalia, Samhar, Sahel, Senhit, and Sarai, and all that. So this is, in a nutshell, that's what the Afar are unique in a way of promoting this, as well as having those provinces, having those regional states to finance and protect their natural resources, to help uplift the poverty of their people, address the marginalization of the historic marginalization in the case of the Afar people. So this is all what we are all about, and hopefully this kind of vision will convince the rest of the Afar or non-Afar to come closer and work with us. So this way we promote the interest of Eritrea for all Eritreans.
So the question, Jonas, was why are there other Afars with different ideologies and where do they fit in, right?
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Jonas tahati tuo تيوم كالوت أفر بخلا ideology زلون كسم ناتو منجدين حزو خوين خوين كميجر ما بس أساس أتيوم كحجزو خلو أخمل كان تايلو كلها ناتنا فريدم كستاينا نامن جن تي ناتهم بناتهم خلو ناتنا مناتنا نخيل جن تي نبانا خن صحبهم جن نسأر لنا كنردهم حفشاوي ساعة نرى أتصيونات.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, so the main thing is what I'm trying to do is ask questions based off what I've been hearing, just to get people educated on the situation. So let's focus on decentralized governance versus centralized governance. And in a decentralized governance, I can compare that to places like the United States, where you have governors in each state. They have their own constitution that doesn't undermine the main constitution of the United States, as an example. Canada, similar scenario, similar situation. And in these same states, in the United States, for example, you have the Navy located in, let's say, San Diego, as an example. You'll have the Air Force, let's just say, randomly located in Nevada, as an example. And you have all these federal agencies across every state. And then you also have the National Guard across every independent respective states. So do you envision Dankalia somewhat the same kind of structure, or how do you envision it, Ahmed?
So, yeah, with the decentralized constitution or federal constitution, if you look at the examples of other advanced democracies like Canada, United States, Belgium, and others. So the power sharing, I think the question really comes to the national security of Eritrea and how national defense of Eritrea will be distributed in not just in Dankalia but other part of the Eritrean territories. So the working, when you have arrangements like that, when you have power sharing, decentralized governance. So what happens is that national defense is made up of not just one area, but in the area of I mean every province contribute to the when it comes to the United States or anywhere else. So I think your question is, how would the Afar be part of an Eritrea that protects the?
How would the region of Dankalia be envisioned based off of the scenario, the examples I gave you?
Yeah. So when it comes to the military, or you talk in general?
Yeah, military versus domestic governance versus non-governance in Dankalia.
Yeah. So what I was saying is say, for example, Dankalia were to become a province of Eritrea and have its internal self-governance that deals with every aspect of running the government. So the military aspect will be, for example, there will be a national defense that protects the national borders and sovereignty of Eritrea, just like national defense. So the Dankalia would be contribute to that. So the Afar will be part of those national defense. And when it comes to economy, like sharing of revenues and all kind of things, this is all be worked out according to the constitution. So I think the Afar are more than willing to take its part. As you know, prior to what it would become of Eritrea is 1991. So the Afar, like I said, had been self-governing indigenous nation throughout the years for hundreds of years. So when first colonization came to the region, the coastal areas of Eritrea, so the Afar were first to engage with these colonialists. At first, the colonialists have recognized the Afar authority and self-governance, and they have become aggressive as the years go by, and they disrespected the Afar autonomy, and they went to go ahead and colonize the area that became Djibouti and Eritrea as we know it. So the Afar have always been the caretakers of their region, whether it was called Eritrea, whether it was called Afar indigenous land prior to what. So there shouldn't be any what do you say, mistrust when it comes to the Afar having to defending their territories and be a protector of their land.
Thank you, Brother Ahmed. Captain, can you get the next question?
Yeah, I wanted I was waiting for that link from you guys for that poster to show the spectrum of what Ahmed wanted to share. I'm having technical issues finding that. I wanted to post that and share that. So we have some government supporters in the comments. I'm watching this, which is okay. That's okay. They're allowed to ask questions as well. But for the brothers that support Blue Revolution Brigade Hamaru and the Afar movement and anyone else. So welcome you. Anyways, I brought a translator along because I'm trying to do the technical support. Bam. Our brother Daniel Berhe. Welcome, brother. Also Team Freedom Blue Revolution Brigade Hamaru, New York. So as I'm doing the stuff behind the scenes, pause for a second to allow Daniel to jump in and translate Jonas. But I did want to ask brother Ahmed, do you guys بتصحفت كفيتكم لخوما Ethiopia? Is your office in Ethiopia or Abe Abdankalia? Abe Izolo? Where is your office located, brother Ahmed? بتصحفتكم Abe Izolo?
Yeah, so our office is located in the Afar regional state capital. It's called Samara. It's about 75 or 65 kilometers away from Asab in Dankalia. So this is where we are right now. We just opened this office in August of 2024, and we're really doing a lot of work in terms of engaging with refugees and local leadership.
Okay, so I mean, there's a plethora of questions. The Afar people, Hizb Afar, are spread out across Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti. Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, Slazalo. Some Afar advocate for a greater Afar nation, while others want to remain Eritrea. What is EANC position in national unity versus regional autonomy? Now, Yiridana you, Yahwatkum, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Galamalolo. And I know you answered this question already in different ways, but how do you expect to gather and unite the Afar? I know the Eritrean Afar are fighting to remove the regime in Eritrea. Do you think the Ethiopia Afar and the Djibouti Afar would also like the Eritrean regime to be changed? Neti mangisti Eritrea zalos, it's Djibouti zolo Afars, Ethiopia zolo Afars, kam tikhamaha Eritrea zolo Afars. Neti mangisti Eritrea's quarter zolo, or do they want him to stay in place? How does it benefit them if he stays in place? Go ahead, brother Ahmed, and then we'll go to Jonas. Danny to translate.
So there's two things that I can't speak for the governments of Djibouti or government of Ethiopia, or for that matter for the Afar regional state, but the views among the Afar in these three countries is this is a tyrannical system that needs to go from the Afar point of view. It's a united vision against the PFDJ that this is a hostile government, not just to the Afar people, but all Eritreans. So we have the support of the Afar people within the region to remove this PFDJ system from Eritrea. Having said that, this support could be, from just a word of mouth, or from having to have, we support you in your mission, or it could be financial, it could be military-wise. But this is something that we are still working on. But one key thing that we all agree is this regime in Eritrea need to go. and that's from the view of the Afar indigenous people. As you know, it's one people, one language, one culture, one religion. It is the colonial boundaries, the colonial artificial borders that have divided us into three modern sovereignties, as you know it. But prior to that, the Afar had, like I said, internal autonomy and moving from one place to another place without any interference. So the majority of the Afar region's people, the Afar region, supports our vision and wants to reconnect with Afars who have been cut off from the rest of the Afar people in Djibouti and Ethiopia.
Thank you. The reason why I asked that question, سلنتا حتى تكامس لك تريلا هذه محمد اللي بن مرايم طيب لك قالوا we want Afar triangle تفنشينا بعلنا هاجر كن سرحنا قال ملس بزلو
Yeah,
and that's okay. That's okay. Malets that's not to eat or again. This is halfway. Again, if we're trying to remove the regime in Eritrea, you're trying to break the countries apart. How many governments are you going to be struggling and fighting against? That's not even achievable yet. We're not even there yet. But
you're right. And we want to make sure, we want to stress on that, brother Captain, that that's not the vision of Eritrean Afar, who struggle for the Afar self-determination autonomy in their traditional home. Like you said, it is inconceivable at this stage in the historic time of what we live in right now. Even if the Afar were to say that, it is unachievable, like you said. What we think it's possible, no Afar that we know of that are about to go redrawing the colonial borders that was set up. Okay, they don't want to do that, and that's impossible to do. So what we want to make sure to our brothers in Eritrea is that the Afar, just like the Afar in Ethiopia, who enjoy their own self-determination, have self-government in the constitution of Ethiopia. So the Eritrean Afar also envision Eritrea that respects not just the Afar, but all the regional arrangement that every nation or every region have ability to have self-governance, rights of self-governance within national framework of Eritrea. So that's what we are all about. So all of these noises that are coming from left or right, this is just a distraction, so to cause trouble amongst the Eritreans.
And that's okay. We have our own ideologies, our own perspective, but we have to focus on realistic goals and things that are attainable and achievable. When you're saying you're going to fight the Eritrean government to remove Afar, Ethiopian government to remove Afar, Djibouti government, that's a lot of fighting, right? That's a lot of that requires a lot. And so we should probably be goal oriented. What is achievable? What isn't achievable? Welcome, right. Danny, brother Danny. Introduce yourself, and then if you want to add and translate to this, welcome to the show, brother. He's frozen, looks like.
Cap, can I add in while he's frozen?
Yeah, go ahead. Do you have your questions? Or you want me to continue asking?
No, I don't have the questions, but you can continue to ask after. Let me just make a comment real quick because it's going to add a little bit of value. So I think we have to think beyond the normal thinking right now. Brother Ahmed confirmed that he respects Eritrean sovereignty, and then he respects Eritrean's diversity, and now it's pushing for a form of governance that's going to make it more manageable. Instead of having a government that works on centralized, he has a government that work on decentralized. And we all can research what decentralized means on our own way. And the reality is, he also understands the importance of national security, meaning having a navy, having an army, and so forth, even around all the regions for protection. And then he also agrees to national security for its own domestic affairs. And so there's plenty of examples on how to govern this type of movement. So I want you to make it very clear. The other thing that we got to make very clear and understood, when Eritrea was formed through the border, when the borders were created in terms of 1896 and so forth during the colonization. And the fact that there's Eritrean Afars who accept that, and there's some Eritrean Afars who don't accept that. You with me? That's the fact when you have this. So we have to look at everything in reality. And so the reason why we're moving towards this direction is because this is the closest direction towards peace and understanding. Now, let's talk about Asap, the Red Sea and so forth. Everybody's talking about they own this, they own that. Everybody wants the ownership of this and that. Where the most important thing is, what's the best use of it to make it good for people in the region? That's really the main thing. So the biggest beneficiaries are going to be all the surrounding countries of Eritrea, aside from Eritrea. Those are going to be the beneficiaries of a fair trade agreement, a good security agreement. And so what's happening is when we're thinking very small, we're going to keep fighting about the same old things. But when we expand our thinking and understand the importance of fairness in human rights capacity, in trade capacity, in security capacity, then we have a chance to progress. That's the reality of the situation. So I just want to emphasize that. Go ahead, Captain.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome, Danny. Go ahead, Danny.
He's on mute.
We can't hear you, brother. You have no vocals.
How about now?
You're good. You want to translate what Jonas is saying and what Ahmed Hafashawi for the T.R.A.P. T.R.A.P.
Sure. مجمرا سلام قبل السلام عليكم وعليكم ورحمة الله يا محترم أستاذ الشيخ يوسف أحمد. How you doing?
شكرا. Thanks for.
السلام عليك. شرفنا يا أبويا والسلام عليكم. Thank you for coming. My name is Daniel Berger. I'm working here at the New York State, at the state rep with the Blue Revolution. And definitely, I just want to say that first, before I translate it, we recognize that the reps and chairman Akida and of all the Afar region, that the role of Afari Eritreans in the birth of our beloved country Eritrea, we really recognize, and we do have a solid stand between the justice seekers and the great people of Afari tribe together. Having said that, let me go just to proceed to what you were saying translated to the Eritreans. So he انتايلو كلتا نغرات ينزلوا يلو تحدق زاربولي دلني تحدقن بجيبوتين بإثيوبيان زغبر زلو كله نتفتات نخدلنا جن اتي منغستي بتاع مثل بزح نغر غدات سلا زغبره ابتي ناي ميليتري ناي لوجيستكس سوتات عينت نغر غنا ابو اي بصحنا زلنا وي تزاربنا زلنا نغر جن اتي حزبي عفار كل غزي سلامن definitely بزح تعيرو 100% مستي حزبي ارتران كونكم زلون سلامن ديمقراسي كله خنسفن ابتي عدنا تراي يكون ابو رباب تعدنا بمودو زينا نصبي زلو زينا ندلي زي حسبنا يلو يغلصلو مالتي go ahead Captain, sorry if I have to make it short.
No, thank you, Danny. Thank you. Excellent translation. Jonas, you want to continue with the questions?
Do you have the questions in front of you, Cap?
I do. I have the questions right in front of me.
Yeah, go ahead and ask the next one. And
okay,
you
so
can ask me or Ahmed. I'm ready.
All right. So so far what we've asked Ahmed. Oh, okay, I'll give it to Danny after this. So you asked him. He explained Eritrean Afar National Congress vision for Eritrea governance, and then he also advocate for regional-based non-ethnic federalism model. That's what I was kind of looking for. Is that the one with the map broken down, with the Eritrea map broken down? Okay, I'm gonna
yes, I just sent it.
Okay, I found it on your website as well. How does the governance model overlap? Now, federalism versus decentralization. Decentralize, avoiding ethnic division. We asked him that. How does your model prevent marginalized groups like Afars from being politically, economically sidelined? Did he answer that one?
No, go ahead and ask that question.
Okay, so I'm not. Tigrina is very difficult to ask this one. The Afar model, I'm going to share on the screen. Come in, so like separate Geramazalo. Netiom Kalod groups, come Afar, indigenous tribes, Kamegera and marginalized Gobrom. Kalahani, but the economics in Tarab Halom. There's another in Hadagifons in Tarhal. I don't know, maybe Danny can. Let me hold on, Jonas. I'm gonna read it in English and Danny break it down in Tigrina. How does your Afar, the model from EANC, prevent marginalized groups like Afars from being politically or economically sidelined? Nabanet, You got Kunama, you have Belen, you have Tigray, you have what do they call? Yeah, you have many groups that minorities. Honus kame gerum som kaitorosu kame gerum som rabaha alom. Go ahead.
Okay. እንታይ ዝብል ዘሎ ሓንቲ ማፕ ኣላ እታ ናይ ኤርትራ ማፕ ዘውፅዋ ስለዚ ሲ ድሕር በኣኣ ክትከይድ ኮይና እቲ ከልዓለት ዘርኢ ትግራይ ይኹን ኩናማ ይኹን ስሆ ይኹን ኣብኡ ዘለዉ ሲ ብኸመይ ኣንዖም ክትሕውሶም ወይ ከዓ እንታይ ክትጥቕሞም ወይ ከዓስ እንድሕር ዘይተሓወሱ ወይ ዝሕር ክስታይ ገይሮም ሲ ከመይ ጌራ ክትረብሖም ትኽእል እዩ ዝብል ዘሎ
Okay. So let me answer it in English or my way, and then Ahmed, you follow suit on what I'm saying.
Your Jonas is a little low.
I said let me answer it my way real quick, and then you guys can, and then Ahmed can answer it his way to the question. Absolutely. So basically to address the marginalization of any minority group and so forth, it's gonna, number one, it's gonna be embedded in the Constitution. That's the key. The key, it needs to be embedded in the Constitution, saying that indigenous rights, minority rights is respected, human rights is respected. That's number one. Number two, the regional map that you see there is not designed to say this ethnic group goes here, this ethnic group goes there. It's not designed for that. Any ethnicity can go any region that they want. That's the thing. This is not ethnic federalism. This is a decentralized system, so that way you cannot be controlled by one entity. That's the reality of it. Just like the United States and just like the Canada and all the advanced democracies around the world. So that's the design of it. And so because it's embedded in the Constitution, because we're going to have a judicial branch where you can sue for discrimination, because you're going to have an economy, a middle-class economy where people are making fair trade, they'll be able to make money and serve themselves. Because people are going to be living in that society, diverse society, is the reason how marginalized communities are going to be protected. Go ahead, Brother Ahmed.
Oh, sorry. Am I muted or yeah?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, what you just said is perfectly clear. Just to add on, this is going to be a constitutional based arrangements. So when we have 8 provinces, some people say it's 9 provinces, it's fine. The formula is the same. All what we say is the Eritrea as we know it have been particularly dangerous for minority groups like Afar, the Kunamas, and others nationalities who feel they have been threatened in terms of their identity, their economic, culture, and all that. So for us to protect these minorities, we need to look into a constitutional model that respects them as well as everyone. And the model that we put together, which we call the Afar constitutional model, which I share with you, Captain, calls for Eritrean constitution needs to be a decentralized constitution. Right now, if you look at the current constitution, there is no constitution. We know 1997 constitution has not been implemented, but Eritrean government or the PFDJ have taken advantage of that and implementing land laws, for example, their land proclamation. So they take the land of indigenous Afar people. What you may have heard me say this, the PFDJ in Eritrea is colonizing the Afar people. Okay, it's a big word to say it's a colonization is happening in Eritrea, but I just want to highlight what I mean by that. So what is happening is the collective punishment of the Afar people. As you know, the Afar people are mostly live in the coastal areas from all the way from Bori, the islands of Dahlak, all the way to the island of Ras Dumera to the Djibouti border. So predominantly the Afar people are fishers living off the coastal Red Sea to either for trade with Yemen, with Djibouti, with Ethiopia, this is as their indigenous economy. So what the regime has done is basically to take away the rights of the Afar people to live off their traditional land and territories and resources. So this in if this were to be taken into other governments, for example, and if you look at these crimes, this would have been called ethnic crimes or crimes of collective punishment. So what even the Italian and the French in the 1800s have not done to the Afar people what the current Eritrean regime is doing. This is collectively punishing the Afar people to take away, cut their throat, and so this way they can be forced out of Eritrea and out of Dankalia. So in other words, Eritrean regime is, if you look at the potash industry right now, Eritrean government is making like billions of dollars dealing with the Chinese to take after taking away the Afar rights to the land. Similarly, they have invited the United Arab Emirates. If you know, maybe a few years back, there was people who have come to the foreign actors came. The military base was set in Assab, where were displaced like thousands of Afar people from their traditional coastal fishing areas. So the regime have a system of governance that is similar to colonial times of, I won't even compare it to colonial Italian times. So what is happening to the Afar is need to be corrected in a way that the next constitution address this marginalization, address the land rights of the Afar people and other minorities. This is why we came up with this solution, taking the examples, taking what the collective grievances of our people today, and we are saying the future of the Eritrean constitution depends on having a decentralized model that respects the rights of the Kunamas, the Bilain, the Sahos, all of our traditional leadership, our traditional customary laws in the people of Eritrea. So this, we believe, is the best solution for Eritrea, so that everyone can live in peace. Anyone from highlands, from Kabasa or western lowlands of Eritrea can come and live in Dankalia. But the governance of Dankalia, as has been historically, need to be the Afar themselves need to rule themselves in a way so that there won't be any fragmentation, there won't be any conflicts after we remove PFDJ and Isaias. So all of this has to be taken into account. So and these kind of dialogue and these kind of constitutional frameworks need to be addressed now. We don't have to wait until the regime is moved. So this is the key takeaway from what we're proposing. We are in liberty, and we are in a good position to discuss these issues prior to removing the regime there, because we don't know what's going to happen once the regime is out of our sight. Conflicts may be flare up from here and there. So this is a way of assuring all Eritreans that we need to work together. So.
Thank you, Brother Ahmed. Before I let Danny translate,
Yes.
hold on, Danny. Before I let you translate, I'm going to give it to you. There's a few people in the comments that probably don't have the ability to understand what you're saying. One guy's wrote, this is the other side's injecting confusion, separation, do not believe what you hear, blah, blah, blah. He's saying that Eritrea is one nation under God. But what Ahmed is saying is, we believe in Afar autonomy. He's saying that we believe in Eritrea. So you're saying the same thing as this guy, but this guy sees you as speaking against him. This is the problem with media and how people understand the topic. You're saying you believe in Eritrea. He's saying the same thing, but attacking you at the same time. It makes no sense to me, but that's okay.
You want me to jump in here?
Yeah, and then Danny can translate, and then you can explain this map here with Akulubuzai, Saraya, Hamas, and Dankalia, and so on.
So I was just go ahead, Danny. It's okay.
No. Go ahead, jump in, Ahmed, and then we'll give it to Danny.
Okay. So when it comes to the questions like this you just mentioned, so they need to understand what the Afar people are. You know, the Afar people are one of the first Eritreans. First of all, they were there prior to what Eritrea came about, before the Eritrean liberation struggle, all of that. So the people need to understand that the Afar, if there was no Afar, there would not be any Eritrea. And they need to understand the the sacrifice and all the historic struggle that the Afar went through have contributed to the formation of Eritrea. It's not the other way around. So the Eritreans are benefiting now from the sacrifices of our ancestors have paid in this part of the world prior to what this area was being called Eritrea or Djibouti. One instance, for example, when the colonials have attacked, the Italian colonials have attacked, there was a very famous Afar Sultan in an area called Biru. Okay, so many Eritreans don't know this history. So this Afar Sultan have single-handedly fought the superpower of that time, which were the Italian forces. The war went almost 30 years without interfering, without Italians breaking through from the Afar lowlands, from Dankalia to the western, to the northern part of Eritrea, prior to capturing Massawa and Asmara and all of these areas. So the Afar held the Italians from penetrating through the hinterlands, and not just Eritrea, but through Ethiopian hinterlands. So at that time, guess what happened? So the Afar people had no help. So the Afar sultans went to the emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, okay, to require some help so he can defend what would be called Eritrea today. So they did not give him any military supply. There was only, I believe, about 10 rifles, old, outdated military weapons. I believe they said it was 10, okay, to defend against the superpower like Italians. Okay, so the Afar Sultan came back. The story said that when he came back to the Afar region, he came back with chicken pox, the disease called Fantata in Amharic. So they came back. So all of the fighting force of the Afar people got infected. About 2,000 Afar people died, and because of their weakness, the Italians conquered the rest of Eritrea. So this is to tell you the Afar have put a fight that no other nationalities in Eritrea to defend what Eritrea, the Eritrea as we know it today. So I mean, none of these stories are in the history books of Eritrea. So we want to educate Eritreans to label the Afar as some kind of secessionist or some kind of some internal force that want to destruct the Eritrea's unity. To the contrary, the Afar have sacrificed enormous amount of lives and struggle so that Eritrea can be united. Similarly, the new generations like us, we said openly and in everywhere in our documents, the political documents say we are about uniting Eritrea. As you can see the map right here, we say autonomous Dankalia within united Eritrea. So this should quash every labeling against the Afar Eritreans that they're about to destroy Eritrea's unity and sovereignty. So I just wanted to add that. I know it was a bit longer, but I wanted to make sure that people educate themselves in this way.
Well, the mic is mine, Captain.
Yeah, go ahead, Danny. Translate, Danny, and then we'll go ahead. Translate, Danny. We'll have Ahmed explain the map once you translate.
Sure. Thank you for giving us a little history, the initial phase of Eritrea, Mr. Ahmed Yusuf. Let me get back to the translation. Well, you're so kind and generous that you said those are like we colonize. I would call it typically individual or as an ethnic genocide or suicide. I would not dare to say genocide, but it's just definitely suicide. حجي انت عايز بزولو أستاذ أحمد يوسف نحن سمس إريتراويان نحن هبطم دمين مجمر يزنبرو بعشق سلطان انتهم زقبرو بتي هيستوري تزاريبو مالتيو مس إريتراويان كنسرح نحن إريتراويانينا نإريتراس كم الدبلوماسية كم تخلو زتبيلا دك خبصا يكونوا بمولو تم شعات بيهر يوم شو منت بيهر بمولو خم تزدليان نحن بديمقراطية وخوينا خنسرحنا ندلي anyone كبسا يكون كبكال متيو وضد الدنكاليا كنبري يخل كسرح يخل كل نجار يخبر يخل جين it's a constitution, Afar constitution model in Nanhanazo because of Eritrea constitutions of Bahalian. There is no constitution. ስለዚህ ንዓና ኢሉ ንዓፋር ንህዝብና ንመሬትና ንባሕርና ንሃይማኖትና ንፀጋታትና ኩሉ እዩ ወፂዑ ካወርድሊ colonize ገይሩ ኣጥፊእና ኣብሪስና ዘሎ ስለዚ ኣብዚ እዋን እዚ ግን ንሕና we are really in a good ኣብ ፅቡቅ ቦታ ኢና ዘለና ንክንሰማማዕን ዲል ክንገብርን ንክንዛረብን ኩሉ ኣብ good situation ማለት ኣብ ፅቡቅ ደረጃ ኣለና እዩ ዝብል ስለዚ እቲ ዓፋር constitution model ኢልና decentralize ንብሎ ምክንያቱ እቲ ዓፋር the Dankalia region ማለት እዩ በኣና በቶም ሰብ بدك عفار يختكاير زلوا ስለዚህ እነዚህ ንሕና ንፈቅድ ኢና እቲ decentralize ንብሎ ግን እንድሕር እቲ ናህና ናይ ኤርትራ constitution እንድሕር ኣብቲ ዝመጽእ ዘሎ after ኢሳያሲዝም ማለት እዩ ብድሕሪ ኢሳያሲዝም ዝመጽእ ዘሎ እንድሕር እቲ constitution ክስታይ ኮይኑ ብኡ ክንሰርሕን ክንነብርን ንሕና ገፈፍቲ ዓሳይና ንሕና እቲ ባሕሪ ብደንብ ኢና ንጥቀመሉና ስለዚ ብከምኡ ገይሩ ክምለስን ንክሰርሕን ብሰላም ኤርትራዊ ብሰላም ንክነብርን ተስፋን minyotin izelena izulmo as have I saying that Mr. Captain may I shoot my question or should I wait up to the last?
Yeah, let him explain the map because there's so many, there's 1,000 questions, there's 431 people viewing and Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. Also in the more information Afar National Eritrean National Congress YouTube kalom. They have their own YouTube and I will subscribe that I help a better understand the Kradakum EANC has a YouTube. Now let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's discuss this map. Who came up with this map? Many is a map Sarihiwa and Ta'ativ is a map. Yusuf Ahmed Ahmed, can you tell us what the autonomous Dankalia within United Eritrea and what is the separation? I see the broken down of Hamas and Saraya Senhit Kashmir Kalia. Go ahead, brother Ahmed.
Yeah, so this map was there prior to Eritrean independence. This map identifies the region. This is not what we came up with, but we think the Eritreans they know, everyone knows their history, their place, their struggle, their ethnic makeup and everything. So having a model that addresses, just like if you were to put up United States maps right now, you'll have 50 states, each state's governing itself. So similarly, Eritrea map is not what the Hegdef put up now, having 6 zones, dividing Dankalia, for example, lower, what do you call, Semenawi, Bahri, Devubawi, Bahri, just like they have it right now. That's not the real formation and the history of our people. So this current map here, not only just a map for people to see, but historically have a strong historic background and division of powers even back then. So everyone knew every provinces of Eritrea. Dankalia is known for having the Afar identity. Predominantly 90% of the Afar people live there, and you so the same thing. The western lowlands of Eritrea, the same mixture of groups live there. So what we're saying is the map of Eritrea is the way it was prior to the current regime, and that the future Eritrea and our future democratic governance style or roadmap should take this into consideration. Have each region have not just Dankalia autonomy, but Samhar can have autonomy, and any other region of Eritrea can have autonomous self-rule and be a united Eritrea, have a central government, a federal government, for example. It could be in Asmara, it could be any other place, but having these division of powers and sharing of resources and governance structure will give Eritrea a better future, have a democratic future, so that all of our people can live together as one. That's what it means in short.
Thank you, Brother Ahmed. You want to go ahead and translate, Danny? Go ahead.
እዚኣ ማፕ እዚኣ ሲ ብዙሕ ነገር ተሻغል ወይ ከዓ ካልእ ነገር ትርጉም ዘለዋ ኣይኮነትን ከምቲ ናይ ዩናይትድ ስቴትስ 54 states ኩለን ብናተን ስቴትድ ዘለዎን ብናተን
50 states, United States 50 states.
Yeah, 50.
50 states. Okay, well,
If you want to take Canada,
well, technically, you just gotta have some Puerto Rico and all.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. To Puerto Rico, those are college, but they don't count. Yeah.
Do your study. ties with the law. It's on 50 states up to 99 states the law see بناتهم حق لهم اتي اب فدرال زخونه الله حق له which is the constitution ግን up to ناتهم كان ناتهم حق لهم ناتهم አካይዳ له نحن دنكاليا كم كካይድ ይላደልያ ምክንያቱ ሲ በትናይ በሓደ ኣብ ዓቢ ፓርላማ ክስታገይሩ ግን ትሕጂ ኣብ ዲሰንትራላይዝ ክኾኑ ሞ ኩለን ተናው ዘሎ ቢሊየንስ አሁ እቲ በሙሉ ዘሎ ሲ ነናቱ ሕግን ሰላምን ገይሩ ክነብር كم عينة مجدين عن خيد ندليز وزلوا مثلاً. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cap, one thing.
Thank you, Danny. Go ahead, Danny, Jonas.
Okay.
Yeah. The main thing I want to emphasize: ethnicities can live anywhere in Eritrea. It's not ethnically based. That's the main thing I want to emphasize. Because what Hegdef tries to do is tries to confuse the situation and try to convince people a region is going to break off and this and that. So let's hit it on the nose. Make it very clear anybody can live anywhere. Thank you.
Oh, Jonas ብሎ ዘሎ ሲ definitely ሲ ኣብቲ ናይ ኤርትራ ሲ ኩሉ everybody ቲ ኤርትራዊ ዝተባሃለ ሲ ንምሳሌ እንድሕር ስኻ ወዲ let's say ወዲ ኸረንት ኮንካ ሲ you have the right to go ኣባፃዕ ኸይድካ ደላይካ ሰሪሕካ ኣቢልካ ክትነብር ኩሉ ነገር ክትገብር ትኽእል ኢኻ ኢሉ explanation እዩ ዝገብራ ዘሎ So having said that, do you want me to go to my question?
Go ahead and ask your question, Danny. بتقرينا حطوتو دحري بإنجلش حطوتو.
نمن بتقرينا حطو.
Because the people have to understand what you're asking.
Oh no, it's very clear بإنجلش كحطو. قليل.
Yeah, first asking Tigrina, then ask in English too.
It's fine.
Oh, okay. All right. The question is Ustaz Yusuf Ahmed Yazia. እንታይ ተሓስብ ወይ ከዓ እንታይ ትብል እንታይ ኣብ ሓንጎልካ ኩሉ ግዜ ይመጻካ ስኻ ጥራይ ዘይኮንካ ኻስ ህዝቢ ዓፋር ብምሉኦም the rest of the Eritrea ሲ at large ማለት እዩ ብዓብዩ ሲ እቲ ርክክብ ዘለና ምስ the justice seekers specifically ምስ BRBNH Blue Revolution Brigade Nahamudo ማለት እዩ ምክንያቱ ህግደፍ ሲ ኣብ ጭንቅን ኣብ ሓሳብን ይዘሎ for how many years ብዙሕ ግዜ ዓመታት ግን ዝሓለፈ 4-5 ዓመት ብዙሕ ለውጥታት ተራእዩ ስለዚ ሲ ንየሱፍ አሕመድ ከሓቶ ዝደሊ ሲ እቲ ምኞትኩም ድሕር ኮይኑ ሲ እቲ ህዝቢ ኤርትራ ደቂ ኸበሳ ማለት እዩ ኩሉ ተኸበሳ ይኹም መታሐብ ዘሎ በሙሉ beside the Afar region ማለት እዩ እንታይ ክገብረልኩም ትደልዩ ወይ ካብኡስ እንታይ expectation እንታይ ትጽበዩ mostly خاني it's justice seeker دلاي فتح استبهلس انت كقبر تدليو متى نتقاسنا كقلطفون كبرتعون ابتز دليو بوتان قبطعون this is in Tigrinya so Mr. Ustaz Yusuf Ahmed a question for you عليك يا خويا what do you say or what come up to your mind when you deliberately ask yourself or the Afar great nation, the people of Afar, what should they ask or expect from the rest of Eritreans, the Khabasa, or the rest of the Eritreans beside the Afar at large? What would it be specifically the BR and BNH, Blue Revolution and Brigade Nahamudu together? What would you say expecting or demand from the rest of the Eritrean people so that way we could expedite, make it clear, and a smooth transition so that way we could get free and in our beloved country of Eritrea. Specifically, the 4 or 5 years, have you noticed whatever that happens between the war of the Tigray? So what's your expectation or demand or ask to Eritrean people to do it for you guys? I mean, for the Afar region at large. Thank you.
It's very important question. I appreciate that. So number one, we are all part and parcel of Eritrean movement for democracy. So the Afar is do not have a single, even though we have our own political organization, uh, none of us can do it without one another. So we depend on each other to remove this regime, which is oppressive to all of us. So what we hope from the rest of Eritreans is actually by doing what we're doing right now. This is having the FR topic. Many of our Eritrean brothers, mostly from the highlands, may not understand, like I said, the history, the grievances, and the what is happening in terms of geopolitics in our region and all this. So it's very important to educate them, to have a common vision, a common understanding of this is a regime that is deliberately destroying all of us, and especially to the minority communities. And by educating them, that's what we've been doing for the last 15, 20 years. And we need to continue in doing that work as collective units. And in terms of coming closer or bridging the gaps, as they say, we need to have, for example, we have close to 200,000 Afar refugees in the territory, in the region, in Ethiopia, in Djibouti, in Yemen. So what Jonas was referring to at the beginning, Yakel came through and addressing the neglect of the Eritrean Afar refugees who are presently suffering in the border areas in Ethiopia, in Djibouti, and in Yemen, for example, for the Sudan, for that matter. So there could be a concerted effort be done to address the need of refugees. When it comes to politically, we have been working at the EANC. We have been working with various Eritrean political organizations to address what we are addressing today here. The model for Eritrea, how we can live together as a united Eritrea post Isaias Afwerki regime, and why the need to start this discussion now is important. We do not need to wait until the regime is collapsed, either from forces outside or inside. So we need to have a model that we put together. They need to be understanding of what kind of Eritrea that we want to build as a people. So these, in terms of the political work, we need to have other Eritreans, like you said. I know many of Eritrean intellectuals and political organizations, but we need to come closer and perhaps have a concerted effort to put the framework of governing the future governance of Eritrea now. And also what we have been doing recently, if you notice, with Brigadier Hamadu and others, we want to see these young brothers come closer to the Afar movement and work together, as the Afar has, like I said, it historically been at the forefront of struggle. The Afar know how to fight. They know how to defend their territory. So what we need to see is the Brigadier Hamadu and us coming closer. We need to formulate and have a plan of a military struggle need to be in place, and to hasten the fall of this regime change. So the opportunity is there now in Ethiopia, and we want this opportunity to be strengthened by others to come join and speak with the Afar people and have. Again, I want to revert back to the history, but the independence of Eritrea came about with Dankalia, through Dankalia, like I was saying. So even the independent for struggle in 1977 came from a place called Sidi Haela in Dankalia, where the Eritreans have mobilized. The Afar supported them in terms of logistics, and they're having military leadership and sacrifice. So many great Afar leaders in the forefront of the struggle. So again, Dankalia could be the starting block for regime change in Eritrea. So they should take into account that the Afar partnership is really important for us to change this regime.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf. I really appreciate it.
Translate, Ms. Gabarka. It's time to ask Mr. Ahmed some difficult questions. It's time to challenge him. Go ahead and translate, Mr. Ahmed, Brother Ahmed. We'll get to it. Hold on, Yunus. Go ahead, Danny, translate.
Sure, Ustaz, thank you very Ustaz Yusuf, thank you very much for that answer. እታመንሲ እንታይ ኢልዋ እንታይ ኢኻ ትፅበኻ ብኤርትራውያን ንሕና ስእቶም ካልኦት ከበሳ ይኹን እቲ ዝሓተትኩ ሕቶ ማለት እንታይ ትፅበም ዝበልኩ ወይ እንታይ ክንገብረልኩም ንደልዩ ወይ እንታይ ኢና ንገብር ዘለና ከም ጀስቲስ ሲከርስ ማለት እዩ ዝበልኩ ወል እንታይ ሞ እቲኣ ንገብራ ዘለና ኢና እታ ክትግበር ዘለዋ ስዕታ ንገብራ ዘለና ኢና ሕጂ እቲ ሓደ እቲ ዲፕሎማሲ እዩ ብደንቢ ዕድል ኣይረኸብና ነርና ክንደይ ግዜ ኮይኑ ሕጂ ግን ተረኺቡ ከሎ ነዚ ዘለና ቅጥዕን ዘለና ኦፖርቹኒቲን ተጠቂምና ኣብ ሓደ ንኽነብፅሖ እታ ካልእቲ ኤዱኬሽን እያ እዩ ሕጂ ዞም 200,000 ዝኾኑ ሪፊውጅ ዘለዉ ሲ ኣብ ኢትዮጵያ ፍልጠት የለን ቴንኪዩ ቱ ይኣክል ቴንኪዩ ብንዮና ዝተመርሐ ከምዚ ገይሮም ገንዘብ ሂቦምና ሓጊዝና ብጣዕሚ ኢምፖርታንት እያ ብዙሕ ኢና ሰሪሕናላ ብዙሕ ኢና ሓጊዝና ኣላ ሕጂ ከምዚታት ከዓ ህዝብና ስለ ዝኾኑ ንዓኣቶም እውን ንኽንሕግዞም ቀፃላይ ክኸውን ኣለዎ ባህላ እዩ ሳልሰይቲ ኤዱኬሽን እያ ኤዱኬሽን ብዛዕባ ዓፋር ይኹን ወይቶም ዓፋር ኮይኑ ከዓ ነቶም ካልኦት ኤርትራውያን ይኹኑ ብዙሕ ፍልጠት የለን ሕጂ ክጓላሕ ጀሚሩ ምክንያቱ እዚ 15-20 ዓመት ከተትፈልጥዋ እዩ ዘሎ ኣብ ጭንቅን ኣብ መከራን ኣብ ካልእን ዝነበረ ዳእምበር ኣብቲ ቲፒካል ስራሕ ኣይነበረን ማለት ሕጂ ግን ሒዝና ያለና ስለዚ ኤዱኬሽን የድሊ ማለት እዩ እቲ ሓንቲ ከዓ ሕጂ እቲ ግዜ EANC ኣብቲ ሎካል ኤሪያ ኮይናሲ ሓደ ዝኾነ ማደል ክወፅሎ ላይክ ፎርሙላ ክወፅእ ኣለዎ ንስራሕና ኣሰራርሓ ዘስራሕና ነዚ ንገብር ኣለና ማለት እዩ ድሕረይ ኣብዚ ዝሓለፈ ከዓ ብናይ ሚሊተሪ ኣፕሮች ብናይ ካልእ ዓይነት ኣፕሮች ንኽንዛረብ ንኽንገብር ንኽንሰማዕ እዚ እቲ ዘድሊ ሞ በዚ ንቐፅለሉ እዩ ዝብል ዘሎ ሚስተር ኣሕመድ የሱፍ ማለት እዩ
Qatsali, thank you. Jonas, whatever you got to say, go ahead. I'm going to start asking some difficult questions here soon. Go ahead.
Okay, so mine's going to be very short. I also want to give a recognition also to the war crimes that went down with Saho as well. I think somebody mentioned it around 2009 or so. And the reality is there's a lot of injustice in Eritrea, and people stayed quiet while it was happening. Maybe because it wasn't their subgroup or something like that. Whatever it is. But that's the biggest problem that we face. If you guys want to be united as Eritreans, then unite when there's injustice going on as well. Don't stay quiet. And so I just want to emphasize that. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you. Okay, Brother Ahmed, I'm going to play a video. A lot of people have different ideas about this and the Ethiopian flag and, you know, the situation with Hizbi Tigray, the past conflict. There was a lot of injustice there and so on. As you well know, we all stood together in unity. So let me share this, and then you tell me what you think. I'm going to go ahead and play this real quick.
بحضر كنا كنتالس استي سرعة زي كبتا عدي تغلل الله كنقلو مخامن منم ترتري بلون زي وجل شعبيا قبل عليه حزب إرترازي بغرو قتلة انقفعن نزي حزبي كنت حنا الزاكر كنت حن بحضر كنا تقراربنا تردادنا
Okay, so brother Ahmed, let's get to the real deal now. Iti organization, Amajamarta, that speech he gave was amazing. I like Fateh, I like it. Not ka organization, that was your organization. Abti Ethiopia Za'adomoni Hwatna. You guys were the ones that hosted and had the space open. That was your EANC, Eritrean Afar National Congress. That was in Ethiopia with the Blue Revolution. Yes. Now, a lot of people, Hotolo, Okay, so me, Jonas, Danny, we support this because anybody كسر حزب دلي بايتا زورد كتعوقوا فويا والكان كنت تدقوا فوت راح يزق باكا, especially if they go to the chaff naba Eritrea and make a statement there. I salute, you know what I mean? And then furthermore, يهواتنا هاني كراونتنا Afar, they wore the Afar clothing, which I applaud. I love that too, because when in Rome, do as the Romans, right? That's how you build diplomacy. So I like that. This is my own views, but not to eat you. Again, many adimuom انتهى وحسنا تالو. There's a lot of questions that we hear over social media. Now, the question is, did our brothers Makalistana Huatna go to Ethiopia because they were individually invited? Was this open to all blue revolution? And was the Ethiopian government hosting this? And where is the safety parameters and factors in this? Because we can all go there, which we plan to go there too, our team, and stand with you and working with you. Again, what is the point of going there to show unity and force a blue revolution in Brigade Hamaru? Can you answer that, Brother Ahmed? And then Danny Khani, you could translate.
So, do you want me to translate your question? Or let's go, Ahmed.
Just let
Hold
him
on, hold on, Jonas. Go ahead and translate it in what I'm asking him in Tigrina.
Okay. Captain انتهي زحبته زلوسي Mr. يوسف أحمد. Okay. رينايو يحواتنا وريدهم أميدا إثيوبيا تعدنا مبتهم أو مقتهم مقربهم زين خريق الله أنا individually بتعمل دسيز بلني تخالق كوشناتي سقفتاتي أبوتو كله إيز بدنا actually ناتي سمعتون سيو هجي أحمد زحبته زلو انتاي تغيرو بانديفيدوال ببول قدي تعديمو ويس كل بلو ريفولوشن ديو برجين حمد تعديمو مچو ويس مس إثيوبيا سامعكم ونيركم زغبركم وديل نيرو ديو بخميز غداي زي سمينار غبرتا خايلو ابزبت.
Yeah, is there a contract and insurance in place? Go ahead, Brother Ahmed.
كتراتا صحفن وعلن علو ديو وحسنا زلو غداي دي نيرو ويس ابو خلخ انشالي نيرو إيلي لحسن.
Go ahead, Brother.
Okay, thanks, Brother Captain. So, as you know, I'll take you back to 2018, I believe, the peacemaking peace process between Ethiopia and Eritrea was finally achieved, and things look rosy, and we all thought, things will probably normalize. Hopefully, Eritrea will get a clue from what's going on in neighboring Ethiopia, start democratizing, and you know how that ended. Okay, so Eritrean regime took advantage of Ethiopia's willingness to open up its borders and work together. So the regime was interfered in the Ethiopia's in affairs negatively, affected, including war in Tigray, orchestrated by Eritrea. All of this was understandably was very bad idea for Eritreans, of course, but this was as expected from Eritrean regime that is always hostile and warmongering. So that was 2018, and for the past 5 years, we were not able to even travel to Ethiopia to visit our families because of the Eritrean presence. The spy network of Eritrea was all over everywhere in the Afar region, and basically, the story. So after that, there was an opening, okay, and an opportunity for us to go and to visit our relatives, in a personal level first, and then we realized there was a need for us to mobilize our people. So this opportunity was presented, I believe, to Blue Revolution and Brigadier Hamadu as well. So this is how we were able to open an office there. okay, because of the opportunity that was presented to us. When I say this, I'm not able to go into details of whether a contract signing or whether it's this. This is not in the interest of our struggle. So, but the opportunity is there. As far as I know, the opportunity is there for all Eritrean justice seekers, all Eritrean opposition groups. So my call would be to have speak with us, those are in the ground, whether it's us or the brothers from the Brigade Nahamadu leadership, and to see how we can expand on this and the opportunity that presented ourselves to us and others. So how can we work in a way that respects Ethiopia's internal issues and also advance the goals of Eritrean people to have this tyrannical system one way or another defeated in Eritrea. So that is basically what I will say about this, and hopefully it's good enough for your question, Captain.
Fair enough. There are some things you could talk about, things you can't talk about.
Absolutely.
Well, I will tell you this. Go ahead and Danny translate Magubar. Ana hanta hoblo deli. Kutusolu. We are very obviously. I'm a military guy myself, and I understand how the military works. Just remember, we all want the same thing. We want regime change. We want freedom. We have to place the proper people in position and people who could take responsibility for our brothers. When our brothers go down to ground at Baita, some sort of insurance that we do not get betrayed by the Ethiopian government, because we are in their land and they're going to work what's best for them. And then second point, whenever you're gathering a military militia or movement, there has to be responsibility and individuals who must take responsibility, because if we lose half of the delay to 50 for whatever reason, God forbid it doesn't happen, someone has to stand up and say, I take responsibility. Now, you can do that for EANC and our Afar brothers. You're tied in. That's, you're tight, right? You know what you're doing, Brother Ahmed. But on our end of the Blue Revolution, we need individuals to take responsibility. It's a must. They can't just come work with you and random people. It can't be like that. So our brothers, Kiros, Ambassa, our brother Wufi, our brother Sultane, we've seen them all there. These are frontline people that everyone knows and respects, and that's cool. But we need a party to take responsibility for every action that occurs at Baita. If that doesn't occur, then when the traumatic event or a big event happens where someone's asked to take responsibility, as a soldier, I am responsible for everything that happens under me. And I am the one to be questioned. If that can't happen, then we're not ready to go to the next step. It's just an advice, as an advisor to my brother Ahmed, from our end of the Blue Revolution, from the way I see it, Benate Ito, I would like to advise that. And I know there's things behind the scenes that we're not all aware of, we can't speak about. I understand. Trust me. 90%, I already know. But just in case the people wanted to ask and understand this is something that sits in the minds and hearts of our people, because we don't want to lose our brothers for nothing either. You know what I mean? There has to be some sort of plan where Abiy Ahmed does not betray us, period. Go ahead, Danny.
Thank you, Cap. Thank you. That was bold and clear and very verified. انتهي يلو حجي أستاذ يوسف أحمد يلو تحتو انت أنيرة بخمي يقوم أمز بتحكم بخمي يقوم غيركم مو individual لينير إذا حتى تعمل سخت كيف كلا تشعر عصر شو متن أتي إرترا رجيم انترفرجيرو ناب إثيوبيا بتسقاماي منقدي انترفرجيرو مالت تأتاتيو متتتا مالت تأتاتيو زمس كونه بزح عينت شجرات بزح عينت مكراتات يمجو at this time كأني كم تقول كنا خلنا هم تم إرتريان عفار كأ بدن ببزح حماقن عبي قدأتني بتحوا ስለዚህ እዚ ምስ ኮነ ንሕና ከዓ ሓቢርና ማለት እዩ እምበኣረይ ንሕና ከዓ ክንድስከስ ኣለና ምስ በልና ኦፊስ ከፊትና ማለት እዩ ብምንታይ ብወፃዕና ኢና ከፊትና እቲ ኦፊስ ዝኸፍና ከዓ ዕድላት ንክገብር ማለት እዩ ስለዚ ንሕና ኢንቪቴሽን ዕድላት ምስ መፃና ከምዚ ዓይነት ዘረባ ንግበር ምስ መፃና ንሕና ከዓ ኦፕን ኮይና እቲ ኮንፊደንሻል እቲ ዘይዝረብ ነገር ሕጂ ኣይክዛረበሉን እየ ተፈሪሙ ድዩ ተፈረመ ድዩ ምስ ኢትዮጵያ ድዩ ፅኒሕልና ክንገልፆ ንኽእል ንኸውን ኢና ሕጂ ግን ዘዛርበኒ ጉዳይ የለን ኢሉ ግን እቲ ኦፖርቹኒቲ ኣሎ ንኩሉ ኤርትራዊ ኣብዚ ክሮስ ሮድ ኣብታ ጃንክሽን ኣብታ መስቀላዊት መንገዲ ኢና ዘለና ኩሉ ዓይነት ዕድል እዩ ዘሎ እቲ ክሰርሕ ዝደለየ እቲ ኤርትራዊ ክኸውን ዝደለየ እቲ ጃስቲስ ሲከር ነፃ ከውፅእ ዝደለየ ንምሳና ክሰርሕ ሲ ሙሉእ ዘይጉዱል ክፉት ማዕፆ እዩ ዘለና ድሓር ከዓ ንሕና እታ ንደልያ ከዓኒ ልክዕ ኣብቲ ንስኹም ትደልይዋ ግን በቲ ዲሰንትራላይዝ ንሕና ንክዶ ንብሎ ብኩሉ ዓይነት መንገዲ ከምቲ ዴሞክራሲ ከምቲ ካልእ ኤርትራዊ ዝደልዩ ከምኡ ኮይንና ክንነብር ኢና ንደሊ እዚኣ ኣፅዲቐ ይቐምጥ ኣለኹ እዩ ዝብል ዘሎ እሳ ውድእ መሰበልኩ እቲ ካፕቴን ዝሓቶ ዝነበረ ብሙሉ የሕዋትና ኣብኡ ዝኸዱ ኪሮስ ኣስፋ ይኹን ውፉ ይኹን ዓሰልጠነቶም ፍሮንት ፊገር ዘለዉ ከይዶም እዚ ብምግባሮም ንሓንቲ ተቃውሞ የብለይን ደስ እዩ ዝብለኒ ግን ኣነ ከም ወታደር እቲ ኮድ ኮንዳክት ዘለኒ ስኽፍታታት ኣለኒ እዚ ከዓ እዚ ስኽፍታት ከዓ ናይ ግድን ክገልፅ ኣለኒ ንኡስታዝ ኣሕመድ ማለት እዩ እቶም ቆልዑ እቶም መናእሰይ ኣብኡ ዘለዉ ኢንሹራንስ ክህልዎም ኣለዎ ሪስፖንሲቢሊቲ ዝወስድ ሰብ ክህልው ኣለዎ ንኺድ ኢልካ ዘይኮነ ንምሳሌ ኣነ እንድሕር ወሲደዮ ኣነ ሪስፖንሲቢሊቲ ክሕተት ኣለኒ ስለዚ እዚ ነገር ኣስተውዒልካን ሓሲብካን ተማያይጥካን ትራንስፓረንሲ ኣካውንታቢሊቲ ሪስፖንሲቢሊቲ ጌርካ እዩ ክስራሕ ዘለዎ እሞ እዚኣታ ናተይ ሕቶ ኣይ ሜክ ሹር እዩ ዝብል ዘሎ go ahead.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you, Ahmed. If you want to add anything to that, as it's malas kamzi him bahal. We need this because we don't, there's certain things that nahna boost galan izarabul buzhna garata lo abdega zay what's it. And I understand Ahmed's position as far as security, because there's different levels of clearances, right? You have classified information, you have secret information, you have top secret information. Up to tati, the classified information. ምናልባት ህዝቢ ቁሩብታ ይፈልጥ ኣይፈልጥኒ ኣብቲ secret information ካቲ ኣብ መንጎ ዝሰርሑ ዘለዎ እንትፈልጡ እቲ top secret ካኒ እቶም ሓለፍቲ ብትልዓሉ ዘለዉ ገለ እንታይ ዝበሃል ሓላፍነት ዝወስዱ ዝእክቡ ገለ organizer they're the ones who are previous to this information obviously you can't share this information with the enemy so you can't put it all out here ኣብ ቅድሚ ሰብ guys out of me ይርዳኒ ግን እዚ just come advise ንሕዋትና just to know things that maybe if people haven't thought about it, just in case, that kind of thing. And we can be supportive and helpful as well. I have a system with Jonas and Danny designed that can probably help in this situation as far as information flow, security systems, and different levels and how to, each individuals can utilize security system. Need to know basis, right? Need to know basis. Mm-hmm. If I'm working in water, I only need to know about water. If I'm working in potash, I only need to know about potash, right? If I'm working on soldiers, I only need to know about soldiers. That's how it's got to go. Don't put down the people that are actually going to do the work. I don't agree with that. Always support the people willing to do the work as long as they use responsibility, accountability, and transparency. I think Blue Revolution and Afar, Afar, we're going to go a long way. And I plan to go visit myself with my brothers, and I plan to wear the Afar clothing, and I want to be enriched in the culture. This is my dream. Inshallah, this is my dream. Anyway, go ahead, Jonas. We haven't given Jonas a chance.
No, let's keep going. I just want to make one note. This is going to inspire all of Eritrea to be united and working for the sovereign Eritrea. And then the other thing I want to remind everybody, there was a lot of land grabbing.
Jonas, can you get closer?
Yeah, your Dempsey. Your volume, turn your volume up.
Yeah.
No, it's because of this. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay. All right. So the main thing is this is going to help raise awareness of all the other injustice going on with the land grabbing. There was also all those arguments about that too, the land grabbing that went on in Tigray speaking region area. And so these are the kind of things, these kind of conversations will ignite other conversations. The reality is we're advocating for reconciliation, we're advocating for justice, and we're advocating for sovereignty for Eritrea, and also regional autonomy and so forth. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, Danny, Jonas, the main thing that a lot of people ask is وحسنت, وحسنت, and we hear that a lot on media. When we come down to the ground, وحسنت means some sort of leverage with the Ethiopian government, and when they're hosting us, what can we use as leverage to ensure that we win, right? Because they're gonna want something, we're gonna want something. We just have to meet in the middle ground and figure out what it is that we both can win off of. But at the same time, we don't want to give too much, right? We don't have the authority to give away the Red Sea. No one here has the authority to give away the Red Sea, right? Obviously, Isaias Forky does what he wants with it. But Hizbi Eritrea, and Afar Nation, and Dankalia, they have a big stake in this, right? Because it includes their autonomy, their wealth, their history, everything. So with that being said, these are things that we have to think about and take into position. Go ahead, Jonas.
I mean, it's real simple, actually. It's very simple. No one has to give away the Red Sea. All people want is a fair way to trade. All they want is security. It really comes down to that. All they want is human rights. So that's the trade-off. It's not complicated. So I don't know why a lot of people try to make it complicated, but it's not. It really comes down to that.
Jonas, brother. So listen, Jonas, Howie. That's nice. It sounds good. But no one will do anything for free, especially when you're dealing with the political arena. The fact that we remove Isaias Afwerki from Eritrea is not good enough for Ethiopia, because it's going to pay money, it's going to pay soldiers, it's going to pay a lot of things geopolitically, and it's going to lose something. So from a political mind state, it's not just freedom. If it was just freedom, they would have removed USA would have removed Isaias Forky decades ago if it's just about freedom, because the majority of Hizbi Eritrea is coming out of Eritrea as we speak, the population. And you see the Afar and Eritrea, their population used to be 700,000 and now decreased to 400, 500,000. And many are displaced. The potash mining in Dankalia was given to Australia and dubbed Dankalia by the Australians. So this isn't just about freedom. There's a trade-off.
I know, but what you just described is a bad trade. That's what you just described. And
right.
What I'm getting at is the trade. When you're asking, well, okay, let me tell you what's not for sale. The land of Eritrean sovereignty is not for sale. However, trade relations can be agreed on. That is achievable, is what I'm trying to get at. For example, right? China is taking gold from Eritrea right now, right? If China's taking gold at a discount, and wouldn't it be more advantageous to sell it at a higher price to another region, or wouldn't it be more advantageous to sell potash to another country for more money, for a better price? So what I'm trying to get at is, right now, Ethiopia is paying billions of dollars to Djibouti, right, to have a trade relation inside Assad support and so forth would create mutual benefit on both sides, where the money can be used to create infrastructure in both regions. So what I'm getting at is our advantage is trade relations. That's our advantage. Not giving up land, not none of that noise, not controlling this, not cutting off this, but we have to keep it that simple is what I'm trying to get at. Thank you.
Well, I mean, that's a good answer. Before I give it to Ahmed, though, you have to understand, before you can achieve anything you're talking about, there has to be regime change. And if there's no regime change, you can't achieve nothing you're talking about. So before
100% agree. 100% agree.
Got it. So the only issue is when our Dankalia brothers, our Afar brothers, our Eritrean Afar brothers, and any Afar for that matter, we don't want to lose them either. We don't want to lose Blue Revolution. So there has to be a leverage that we got to utilize to our advantage in Ethiopia. That's all I'm saying for the safety of our brothers. Go ahead, Ahmed.
Yes. Danny, you want to go on, or?
Well, I would like to add it up so that we could answer the question. Respect, Muhtaram ya Ustaz Yusuf Ahmed. I have to tell you this, Yusuf, just as a man and as an Eritrean, and as you as a Muslim brother, you know it, but I'm just going to repeat it now. It's a lot of educated people of Eritreans in every corner of the world, concern, fatigue. They got questions so many things. And the key part of this question is in your hand. When I say in a hand, it's on our beloved Afar people. Uh, what happened now in Ethiopia is, I don't think, besides the regime, anybody should be happy to see those young men and women up there doing the justice, and they're trying to get to the house, to their home, closer to this dictator, is nothing but the best achievement. Having said that, we have learned from our history back and learned from the other countries. What Captain is concerned, so do we, so does other more Eritrean people, whether it's they are on the other side or on this side. We do not want any Eritrean to die for no reason, because what we have seen is death, death after death, with no accountability, no transparency, not even responsibility at all. So this is very serious happening, this communication and the diplomacy in Ethiopia between the Afar and the justice seekers per se yet now. It is really vital, imperative to think twice and dissect it, having do of confidential meetings and all that, so that way these people are asking insurance, insurance, insurance. We have to insure them if it is going to be a weaponized freedom. We, as Jonas or us, we think the change is going to come within, inside the Eritrea. So we have to give that an aside. We have to put in we have to think that out of box. If this is the case, it must be the margin of error, that +3 or -3, that's how we want to go. A captain's team, that's what's thinking, and that's how he want to lead. This guy, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, wake me up and call me, asking me those questions almost every other day. So is Jonas. So this is our concern, and I want to give it to you, to Yusuf, so that you could answer it, and so more. You have to give it little magnitude for this one. Thank you very much, Ustaz Yusuf, for listening to me.
Well, thank you. It's very, very important discussion we're having here, guys, and we want to have more of these discussions with maybe a bigger platform. So, you just to go back to, I mean, for us being in Ethiopia at this moment, is like you said, it is really a great opportunity. Having said that, we need to understand the geopolitics of the region as well. So Ethiopia's interest is known to most of us, that Ethiopia, number one, wants a peaceful neighbor, especially from Eritrea. Eritrea has not been a peaceful neighbor to Ethiopia since the beginning. So our job is to have a government in Eritrea that is a peaceful to Ethiopia, not just Ethiopia, but to Djibouti, to Sudan, to even across the Red Sea, to Yemen and other nations. So this is what we strive for. And also Ethiopia, by having a peaceful neighbor within Eritrea, also Ethiopia has a population of 130 plus million people. Okay, we as Eritreans are sitting in the port that has been dysfunctional for over 30 odd years. Okay, and Eritrea deliberately kept its population in starving condition. It's the port facility is crumbling. We all know when Abiy Isaias made agreement, the visit by Ethiopian officials looked at the Asab and Mosawa port. There was a great opportunities there. So Ethiopia's interest is well known to have a meaningful relations, a peaceful neighbor with Eritrea, number one, and to have economic engagement. So this is in our a political program. We have talked about the EANC external policy. If you look at in our program, you will see that is exactly what we are promoting for. We want the peaceful a neighbor to Ethiopia, which is as we speak as Eritreans. And secondly, we want to make sure, the big question that is in every Ethiopian mind, which is to have an access. Having an access, like Brother Jonas was saying, it is possible to have a secure, sovereign Eritrea, also have a good friendly relationship that uses our port, which has not been used for all these years. As an Afar, I tell you, no one has been critically endangered, or the economy or the way of life has been disrupted like the Afar people, who were in the from the coastal region all the way to the hinterland of Afar region, for example. And if you guys know the road leading from Asab to Samara, the asphalt road, people were, their livelihood completely destroyed. Okay. And right now, imagine if Ethiopia were to lease our port, okay, respecting the sovereignty of Eritrea, which I think Ethiopian leadership respect as we speak. You will hear people from various corners saying, Assad belongs to us, but that's not the position of the Ethiopian government, as we know. So for having a clear vision for the Ethiopian government to understand us, the opposition is willing to work with you post Isaias Afwerki, and this is our plan. We want to make sure our sovereignty is respected, and make sure no harm done to Eritreans. Also have a reasonable economic engagement with Ethiopians, which we believe. Like I said, this is where we need to work closely with Ethiopians leadership and say, look, you're helping us now, but in the future, okay, Eritreans would be your number one, like I said, your peaceful neighbor. There will never be any war between Ethiopia and Eritrea again because of our sovereignty understanding. It will be the facilities, whether it's in Mosawa or in Asab, will be open for your markets, for your economic development. Can you imagine if you, like Jonas was saying, spending billions of dollars? Ethiopia, the port in Djibouti is not enough for Ethiopia's growing population. It needs about 3-4 more ports for Ethiopia to catch up with the economic development that is in the plan. I think that is where we open-handedly address the issues of diplomatic engagement with Ethiopia, and saying, look, the Blue Revolution or the Eritrean opposition outside want to work with you to make sure that this kind of economic development beneficial for both Eritreans and Eritreans are in place, and this is what in advantage to you and to us by removing this regime. So certain, I know I'm talking off the top of my head, but needs to be a diplomatic mission that engage with Ethiopian leadership and saying, this is what we have in store for you, and this is what we expect from you, and this is what the region, not just Eritrea and Ethiopia, will be. All the people in the region can benefit from having this kind of understanding and friendly relations. So this is where I think our diplomacy lacks a little bit, and we need to have important discussions amongst us first, and then have a plan for engaging Ethiopia with this.
Absolutely. So to wrap it up, guys, I'm going to read this quickly. A lot of people, bylaws, this is the Afar constitutional model for Eritrea. A lot of people have signed on this. This is a living document. Kombubae, be English. And then I'm going to ask our brother Ahmed one last question. And Taiz was the law. Preamble, we the signatories of this memorandum of understanding are uniting together to oppose the authoritarian regime in our homeland of Eritrea. Okay, So that's the main thing. And then troubled by the 32 years long suffering of helpless citizens inside the country, by the catastrophic situation of violation of human rights of the Eritrean people, and then concern about the disunity and division of democratic opposition groups, committing ourselves to put an end to our disunity, division, and the intolerance of characterizing our opposition diaspora. Recognizing Eritrea's multinational, multicultural, multi-religious, multi-ethnic, multi-regional heritage, determined to build an Eritrean society free of violence, free or fear, discrimination, intimidation, hate, corruption, but instead founded on justice, fairness, openness, transparency, dignity, and equality. Whereas the United Nations investigation on human rights in Eritrea have found that the government of Eritrea and the Eritrean officials have committed gross human rights violations. And whereas the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People recognizes indigenous people have the right to self-determination, and so on. Now, as we go up on this document, if you notice, we condemn the persecution, crimes against humanity, murder, torture, rape, disappearances. We, the Eritrean people, the political and civil diaspora.
Yeah, so sorry, Captain, that's where I want you to refocus. If you can read that, the solemn will of Eritrean diaspora opposition groups.
Okay. So the solemn will of the Eritrean diaspora opposition groups, we the Eritrean people, the political civil diaspora opposition, the indigenous people of Eritrea, the minorities of Eritrea, the traditional religious elders, the representatives of Eritrean women, the refugees, the youth groups, those assembled together today in the city of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, USA, and those participating from various locations globally, hereby declare to the world the solemn will of the Eritrean people as follows. We together resolve to protect Eritrea's sovereignty.
Yes,
to protect Eritrea's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and traditional borders by all means at our disposal. Resolve to commit ourselves to establishing a decentralized federal democratic Eritrean government to preserve our national unity and democratic governance of Eritrea. Resolve to establish a power sharing constitution that distributes power between Eritrea's central government and Eritrea's 8 provinces state Akaloguzai, Barka, Dankalia, Hamasen, Sahel, Samhar, Saraye, Sanhit.
Yes,
Resolve that each province, regional state will exercise their right to self-government and political autonomy in their respective regions within the Federation of Eritrea, and resolve that each province, regional state, through the government that they shall freely elect, shall have the right to own and control the land and natural resources. And then the declaration, Mani Farimo, Eritrean Afar National Congress, Eritrean Congress Party, Free Media Consultant, independent friend of the Afar, Sintina Network, Baito Yaakil, Eritrea Focus London, Eritrean National Council, Hijazan Kulan organizations for Rimamo, Professor Joseph Magnet, continued. Okay, we also have Mr. Gabre Bahdouri, Shawa Saim Azazid Bahari Hawa Teda. So Buzahsab are aligned with this situation. And I think it's great. I think it's amazing. I think when there's a document in place like this and it's working, if we have questions, we will bring our brother Ahmed. I know we drilled him to the T today. We didn't make it easy on you. This is nothing new for us. We are also your Eritrean advisors, so to speak. Ahmed, my brother, we saw our brothers go visit your office in Ethiopia. office office normal. We have questions.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed it.
Our movement. But yeah, go ahead. If there's anything else you want to add to this before we end the show, go ahead, brother Ahmed, and we appreciate you.
Well, listen, I want to thank you, Captain, and brother Daniel, and all of you, and the behind the scenes that made this efforts to engage Eritreans. We really appreciate this, and there's a lot of work to be done. And what we hope to aspire, like you are reading this thing here, this document is called the Afar model, but this model can be applied to every marginalized communities, every oppressed Eritreans inside Eritrea. So we want to make sure people have, if they have questions, so we can always answer to our ability. But the key thing here is that the time 2025 is the year we really hope that Eritreans can come together and do away with this divisions and mistrust, and to come up and do this, use the opportunities when we have it. So again, I want to thank you for this opportunity and brotherly advice. Always appreciate your support, Brother Captain.
Thank you, Brother Ahmed. We appreciate it. There's a lot of people that have a lot of questions, but we can't get to it. We will bring you back next time. I know there's a brother asking his own questions. Mohammed Ibn Mariam probably doesn't agree with you, but I can host him as a guest and I could challenge him myself. It's not a problem.
We are Democrats.
Yeah, we are open. We believe in freedom. I can bring you as long as they're respectful. I don't care
That's
what
right.
size of work. He can come as long as they're respectful. We're willing to challenge anyone. No problem. This is not an easy platform. But brother Mohammed Ibn Mariam, if you have a question, I can invite you and interview you and see if you have a better system, if you have a better plan in place, if you have bylaws.
Bring it up.
All these
That's
things.
right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the only way you can challenge, is to bring your own system, your own bylaws, your own work, byta, everything. If you could do that, come on down. We will do what it do. Brother Jonas, anything you want to add before you go?
No, that was a perfect show, Captain. I appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing, and then we're here to support you, Captain. I really appreciate what you're doing. Daniel Braham, I appreciate you, man. You're the man. We're doing our thing in diplomacy, DC. And then, Brother Ahmed, I really appreciate you. Thank you for the openness, communication that we have together, and let's keep at it.
Excellent. Thank you. Danny.
Sure. First, Cap, I know you've been working hard. I know what kind of magnitude you have on this Eritrea, so we call keep it going. Jonas, you amazing. Very happy to work with you all the time, because you just not only Eritrean but just human too. You are human. So keep it going like that. أستاذ أحمد يوسف يا أبوي تشرفنا يا أبوي صدقني أنت محترم. I really enjoy this. I really nice to meet you. The only thing I want to just again I want to put that in your head is, if without transparency, accountability, and responsibility, as a collective Eritreans, we're not gonna go nowhere. It could be any special or anybody's benefit or anybody has his own, move. But as a collective, as we have, I mean, this struggle is bigger than you, Yusuf, bigger than Cap, bigger than me, bigger than Jonas, and everybody is significant. This has been going for so many years. We have enough. So we have to prove, we have to put our hand on our foot first. We have to give the Eritrean people. So I really appreciate it. Salam Ali al Mr. Akita. Oh, thank you very much. I'm done.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Respect. Thank you, brother.
All the best.
Jonas, we'll see you soon, probably in a week or two. I'm sure there'll be 1,000 questions.
Absolutely. Thanks,
I got a mission to go too, so definitely. Thank you very much. Yeah, okay.
Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, guys. Hold on, my bad, Danny. I cut you off. Sorry about that.
No problem. I just would like to give a credit for now, while Yusuf he left, but I really Team Blue Revolution, Team Freedom International, Yakel, Brumatai, APDP, all kind of ናይ ሃይማኖትን ናይ ሰብኣዊ መሰረት ስራሕ ዘለዋ ኣቃላጠፍቲ በዓል KMZ በዓል RDPs Africa Focus ኩሉ እቲ ምሁር ዘሎ ሲ ንምንታይ ትፅበለኻ ንዓምፃ እየ ዝብለካ ቦታ ኣለካ ፖዚሽን ኣለካ ጥራይ ሃንጎልካን ክእለትካን ፍልጠትካን እያ ትድልይ ሞብዚ እቲ ኩሉ ፀጊዕኻ ንዓምፃ ንብል ኣለና እዚ ኣብለካ ካፕቴንካ በቲ ትገብሮ ኩሉ ፃዕርኻ keep it going. I know you don't give up. So is your sister. and definitely كلكم team بدحرينا زلكم بمولكم شمتوا وعيدلنيو I really appreciate بسهلكم منا تطوينا زلنا حجي خاخما قصلوا thank you very much تفوتوا من كلكم سلازي soon كأني we could hear good news كلنا بحبر إرتراويان سلازي نزيان قال زلكم أنا هاب ولك أي زياز قبر زلكم so thank you very much Captain for the opportunity I appreciate it.
Respect, brother. Thank you. Okay, what is أنا لو مشو هنرا بزو حتى تتالو we will bring Yosef Ahmed Kinmasoina to our Dankalia brothers and sisters who are fighting for autonomy, freedom. Even if you have a different idea, it's not a problem. If you believe in Afar Triangle, if you believe in Afar Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, no problem. This platform is open for everyone to come here and discuss. And the other side, Mahmoud Libin Mariam, and those who have different ideas, you're welcome to come here and I will ask you all the questions that you feel like you have to answer. It's no problem. This is what we're supposed to do. Natiom Blue Revolution this is good. You have to challenge everyone. It's okay to challenge. It's normal, because you need to know what's happening. But those don't call names. Just respectfully ask the question. We need this. We can't always be separated because just because we don't agree doesn't mean I don't like you. We don't agree, but we can disagree. We can agree to disagree and come together and work together to achieve our goals. Now, Blue Revolution Brigade Nahamadu. Muradom na Ethiopia nek amone. And personally I amone. Why can agrokum? Behagi begalan hizghaid coin was not a problem. Why? Because it is safety in Ahwatna, kite of Unagala Melanisakafina. Sat Rahember قريبنا شاف إريترا دولنا ورد كنولون سايز بتعمي دس زبلنا قريب ولا هولو بلو ريفولوشن بتاع شافتر أخيبو ورد كم قربت يسوكو فاينة تمانجستي إزو تصبو صراحي I agree with this one فتاعي one نتي وحسنت جن عابنا قريب وتهدرنا خاني discipline كله لو ترنافق كله لو program كله لو بناتي رئيتو مالتي أبز بناتي كستايا the way I see it, everything isn't as simple as it seems. Everything has to be calculated, and we have to protect our brothers. We don't want to lose one Afar. We don't want to lose one Blue Revolution, Tigrina, Hamasin, Saraye, Akolo Guzay, Senhid, Gash Barka. We don't want to lose no one. We want freedom. We know it's not sometimes not possible, but maybe if they see us united, maybe there may be change with less collateral damage. زي go. يحواتها Blue Revolution ملا عالم زلهم respect. زخدكم زي خدكم زي وردكم زي وردكم كيروس respect كلهم respect. Again, حطوتات. I know different levels of security slugs اللو وزحزين زارة ولا نقر كالو يردانيو من البات وكلت تراخيبهم تسامعهم أسئلة من التهزبي يردوه. We are here. We are united. Brigade Nahamuru Afar National Congress. Welcome. مساهم 4 عامد سرحناي وتشيتو نرئي لنا زي نحواتنا invite غيركم معنا خنزي هيم هيك تبالو respect سب سرح أجوهات بلو حتى نحلوها هاني تملسلو تودع finished قلالة كابزي على علين ولا حنتي يلن. We will bring the other side of the Afar to express their concerns. Galamele, Kanhatomina, if they have questions or have different perspective. And anybody that wants to come here and challenge, free. Let's do it. Yanele, Brigade Nahamuru Blue Revolution, Ajohum, Cappy. My team, Kani, up to fault. We know who you are. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you for making everything possible. Respect your what. Have a good Sunday.